Henry VIII's only legitimate son, Edward VI, was born on October 12, 1537, to Henry VIII and his third wife, Jane Seymour. Edward's life, though short, was marked by significant political and religious upheaval, as he was central to the continuation of the Tudor dynasty and the Reformation in England. Edward was born at Hampton Court Palace after Henry VIII had long desired a male heir. His birth came at a significant cost. Jane Seymour, Edward's mother, died of postnatal complications just days after his birth. From his earliest days, Edward was more than a child. He was England's hope and the linchpin of his father's legacy. His education was rigorous and thorough, with tutors handpicked by Henry himself. Edward was an exceptionally bright child, fluent in multiple languages and steeped in theology, history, and philosophy by the time he was 10. He excelled in languages and theology, and was raised in a Protestant environment, reflecting his father's break with the Catholic Church during the Reformation. Young as he was, Edward absorbed his father's vision of England as a Protestant power, an image drastically different from his Catholic sisters, Mary and Elizabeth. When Henry VIII died in 1547, Edward became king at just 9 years old. His advisors ruled on his behalf, led initially by his uncle, Edward Seymour, the Duke of Somerset, who held the title of Lord Protector. Somerset was a fervent Protestant and used his power to push a series of radical religious reforms. He introduced the Book of Common Prayer, which standardized English worship services and broke more definitively from Catholic practices. However, Somerset's aggressive changes faced resistance, and the country was rife with unrest, especially from Catholics who resisted Protestant reforms. After Somerset fell from power, Edward's next advisor, John Dudley, Duke of Northumberland, took the reins. Northumberland's ambitions aligned with Edward's desire to see England remain Protestant, leading him to support Edward's own controversial plan for succession. Edward was determined to prevent his Catholic half-sister Mary from taking the throne, fearing she would undo the Protestant reforms he had championed. Instead, he planned to pass the crown to his Protestant cousin, Lady Jane Grey, a decision that plunged the kingdom into further instability. Sadly, Edward's plans would never come to fruition. In early 1553, he became gravely ill, suffering from symptoms that modern historians believe were likely tuberculosis. As his condition worsened, Edward's mind was preoccupied with ensuring a Protestant successor, and he formally declared Lady Jane Grey as his heir. Edward's death on July 6, 1553, at the age of 15, left England on the brink of chaos. His death led to a struggle for the throne, involving his half-sisters Mary and Elizabeth and his Protestant cousin Lady Jane Grey. Lady Jane Grey was proclaimed queen, but her reign lasted only 9 days before Mary, backed by loyal supporters, seized the throne. Although Edward VI never married or produced heirs, his brief reign left a lasting legacy. His vision of a Protestant England laid the groundwork for his half-sister Elizabeth. She would later restore Protestantism and stabilize the kingdom. Edward's life and reign remain a compelling and bittersweet chapter in Tudor history. He was a young king whose hopes and ambitions were cut short by fate, leaving the kingdom he loved in upheaval. Being so young, he still had hopes and ambitions that were cut short by fate, leaving the kingdom he once loved behind. Edward's story is a poignant and complex chapter in Tudor history. It was marked by high hopes and intense pressures that quickly unraveled due to his failing health. Edward's birth was a celebrated event, but unfortunately, his reign was short-lived. And England would soon experience a violent return to Catholicism under Mary I, with Protestant reformers executed and the country thrown into religious turmoil once more. Edward's short and tragic life left an indelible mark on the Tudor dynasty and the Reformation. His legacy is that of a boy king, whose deep religious conviction and devotion to his faith transformed England, but who was also shaped and, ultimately, constrained by the ambitions of the adults around him. His reign became a fleeting yet powerful testament to the risks and resilience of idealism in a world shaped by power and politics. Edward's legacy is ultimately one of unfulfilled potential. Historians often wonder what might have been if Edward had lived longer, reaching adulthood and ruling in his own rights. With his intellectual gifts, he might have conquered his desired goals for the country. His religious conviction and early signs of political acumen, he might have forged a more stable and unified Protestant England. Yet, his reign, though tragically brief, remains a crucial chapter in Tudor history, a story of a young king's zeal, idealism, and the heavy burden of royal duty, ending all too soon, but influencing England for generations to come. Dive deeper into the captivating world of the Tudors and discover more about royal lives that shaped history. Subscribe now to explore the intricate web of power, politics, and personal stories within this fascinating dynasty. And I just wanted to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for being here and supporting my channel. Whether you're a new subscriber or have been with me from the start, your support means the world. Your comments, likes, and shares inspire me to keep creating, and I'm so grateful to have this amazing community that brings such positivity, curiosity, and energy. This journey wouldn't be the same without you all, and I'm excited for everything that's coming next. Here's to many more stories, conversations, and shared moments together.